doing? Good to see you. How you doing, Brad? Great. I need one of those. Well, I appreciate everybody coming, and surely appreciate all the hard work that everybody's done for a long time. Now, of course, everybody knows why we're here today, and we're here trying to figure out what to do, and we've been doing that for a long time. Let me just say this, that if you want my true feelings about what we have, and I'm going to tell you that today, I think we have a travesty. I think that as best I could tell you from the bottom of my heart, I can't sign this. I can't possibly sign this. Now, because of the pain that it's going to cause so many people and the direction that it puts us in basically solving none of our problems. Now, on the other hand, where are we really? Remember this now. On almost the first day of when we came into session, I went to the floor of the caucuses of the different House and Senate, and I started pleading with them at that time, we've got to pass a budget. I tried to get it made into law that if we had to extend the session in excess of 5 days, that no one would get paid. And that went nowhere, it just fell on deaf ears. I've also made the recommendation repeatedly that the only true constitutional thing that we have to do is pass a budget. And I've said, from this point forward, we should make it law that we don't pass any law until we pass a budget, because it's become a three-ring circus and it's cost our taxpayers real money. Now, you can point the finger in a lot of different directions at a lot of different people, but there's no chance on the planet that you're going to be able to point the finger at me and say, I've caused us to sit around here this long. That's just frivolous as it can be. I've said all along that we don't need to cripple our state anymore. Because when you cripple, you slow it down. You slow down the engine. We're the only state in the country losing population. We're dead 50th in everything coming or going. We've lost every coal company coming and going on top of that, and we can't seem to get it. We just don't get it. Now, but the reality is real simple. Now we're right up against D-Day. Like I said, I can't possibly put my name on this. What I'm going to do, for the sake of all those that are out there in the world that are stressed to the max, wondering if they're going to get a paycheck or what's going to happen to them, are they going to lose their job, are they going to lose their benefits, the retirees, can you imagine? Can you just imagine what we've done to the retirees that are sitting out there on an income of $750 a month, and wondering whether or not they're going to have enough money to buy food, or should they keep the money and be able to fill their prescriptions? And now they're sitting there wondering whether or not they're going to get a check. So the bottom line is just this. I'm just going to let it go into law. I can't possibly put my name on it. But we can't afford to hurt the innocent more. Now, I want to just walk through and you can take these off wherever you are, Grant. You know, from the very beginning, I have surely not been your traditional governor, to say the very least. But now let's be fair. Traditional has gotten us 50th, has it not? I mean, traditional is just that, dead last in this state. Now, I want you to know that from my standpoint, I am delighted beyond belief with our roads package. Delighted beyond belief, and I've said over and over and over that that's the 800-pound gorilla in the room, is it not? Well, now, but if you look at where we're at, and Pam, I've got to have my glasses because I can't see this really well. Can I borrow a pair of readers from somebody, anybody? Okay, I got it right here. And then I can see. All these lights have got me all where I can't see. Let's think about this. And I'm going to give you all just my notes. Anybody that wants them. Because you see, I've said it from day one, all I know how to do is tell the truth. I don't have anything to hide. All I'm going to do is tell you the truth. Now, before I go any further, I'd surely like to say I've got a bunch of secretaries and a bunch of people that are back in the audience here and everything that do great, great work for this state. There's a lot of people out there that are putting in long hours and giving it all they got for our state. And those retirees depend on us. And so from that standpoint and that standpoint alone, we can't shut the government down and become the number one thing on headline news tonight. We can't afford to do that, can we? But you talk about a gun cocked at your head and a situation that is unnecessary beyond belief. Let's just think, and let's be fair. You know, I give the credit in my life, especially for all the good things, to the good Lord, but some way, somehow, he gave me these ideas, but these were my ideas. My ideas. You think, where do we, other than just this, other than the idea that I came up with and said back in the debates, severance tax dollars would rise. And you know what? They laughed at me. They laughed at me. And it did. And the other thing is just this. I said, my roads plan is our ticket. Other than those two things, what would this budget have done? If you pulled those two things out of our budget that we have today, the budget that our lawmakers passed would have absolutely devastated this state beyond belief and bankrupted us. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. If this tiny little guy didn't stumble in and tell you severance tax are going to go up and bring you the roads package, you would have absolutely incinerated. Now, let's think what this absolute terrible bill is going to do. First of all, it's going to cut our fairs and festivals. Next of all, it's not going to help our teachers. It's going to hurt our coal miners for nothing, for nothing. We had the best tiering possibility on the planet, and it all boiled down to the same old, well, you know, Bob Murray's going to get a break, or the Coal Association is this and that, and I've told people over and over and over, this wasn't about them. This was about one thing, and that's just this. Can you mine coal in West Virginia for $40 a ton? Can you survive? Well, you can't. So if you can't, we'd get zero severance. I'd a whole heck of a lot rather get 3.75% than zero. Well, the net of the whole thing is how many more coal companies are we going to have to see go to the House and close and send our miners away before we're going to wake up? And the upside potential of the tiering was off the chart good. Now, we turned our back on our vets again, didn't we? We had it done. We had it done. We turned our backs on our seniors as far as exempting Social Security from our state income tax. We actually took away a rebate check to the poorest of the poor of $150 and $100 to the bracket right above that they were going to get a check. They were going to get, and that's big money to those people. They were going to get a check. Now get this. We stripped every single dollar out of tourism. Every dollar. There's no SOS money to promote and market our state, and there's no tourism dollars. How dumb can we be? How blooming dumb can we be? The historical tax credit, which would have just promoted additional business here, gone. The Women's Commission, gone. There's no real protection against further cuts. There's no income tax reduction to people that are making less than $150,000 a year, and surely none for people making more. And I specifically tried to take that away anyway. Now get this. In my roads package, I bragged over and over and over about the idea that we had a 5% successful bidders fee in the roads package that would have absolutely eradicated this terrible drug epidemic. Now what you might as well do is call, hear ye, drug dealers and everything else. West Virginia is your place to come. We just threw it away. We didn't do it. It was our way to fix this terrible drug epidemic that's cannibalizing us in every way. Threw it away. Just threw it away. We have significant cuts to higher ed, and especially now we have double the level of cuts for all practical purposes to our other schools other than Marshall and WVU. We have fake surplus money. Now, I want you to understand what this is. That will lead to additional Medicaid and DHHR cuts, guarantee it. Fake money. Think about this. We thought we had a surplus. Our people that calculate this every day, think that the state will have a surplus of $26 million net dollars. They just arbitrarily came up and said, we think the surplus is going to be $82 million and we're going to use that. And so we're going to backfill Medicaid with that dollar. What if they don't come? What if they don't come? Then what are we going to do? In addition to that, we took one-time money and backfilled Medicaid and DHHR with one-time money. What's going to happen next year? There is no plan here. All this does is kick the can down the road, and there's massive budget holes in the out years. Now think about it. I want you to really think. We didn't have to do this. I had a plan on the table that absolutely addressed every bit of this, and we didn't have to do it. Do you get it? We didn't have to do this. And we had a plan that balanced all out through the out years. Now, where is this going to put us? Do you really think we're going to come back in the next session in an election year? We're going to come back in and fix this stuff? we're not going to do this. This puts us on a pathway for a long time with a lot of pain and bad stuff. Now, again, I'm really proud of the fact that we've got a roads plan that is historic in every way, and Tom Smith is with us, and Tom knows, and I know too, that this will create tens and tens of thousands of jobs, and it is a great plan, and it is historic in that its size is something that has never been done in our state, and it is almost 500 projects. 500 projects is what we'll be working on. Now, I'm happy that we somewhat protected K through 12. We threw our teachers in the ditch. We avoided a shutdown, and thank God we are going to send the legislature home. Now, the last thing I would tell you is just this. Because I can't do anything but tell you the truth. Here's kind of the play-by-play over on where it says missed opportunities. On the final night of the first of the regular session, there was a real possibility of a deal. And the Senate Dems, for all practical purposes, just decided, oh no, we're not doing this, and they hit the skids like crazy. Now, I don't blame. All I'm doing is just telling you the truth, and it derailed. Then the Senate passed this plan that I'm referring to where we had it done. Do you realize we had it done? We had it done at a 6.35 sales tax. All that covered. We had prosperity for our people in every way in the world, and we had this state jump-started and really going. I mean, absolutely really going. And the House just flat rejected it and didn't even look at it. And then later, the Senate passed another plan with no Dem support. And then, and I've got here on the board up here, your most pivotal moment of all. And I described it one time as the old man in the sea, didn't I? I said, if I'm the old man and the Republicans were the great fish, and I'd fought the great fish all night, and I was tired, and I'd sweat and shed blood and tears, and the great fish was at the boat. The Republicans were at the boat. And then I turned around, and the Dems that were supposed to be with me, they ran and cut the line and pushed the fish out to sea. Now that's what they did. That was the most pivotal moment. We had it done. We had it done. Armstead and Carmichael were on board, and we had it done. And we had enough Republican votes to pull it across the finish line. We didn't have to have all the Dems because we felt like we had 26 to 28 and maybe 30 Republican votes in the House at that time. That was Armstead's very words. That was his words. We had that many votes, and he was trying to get more. And all we needed at that time was 23 or 25 or whatever Dems, and we were done. Now just imagine. Imagine, I can't tell you anything but the truth. Imagine this. Imagine a Democrat that I went and sat right in their caucus, and I told them there was going to be carnage and there was going to be bad stuff happen to some people. Now just imagine a Democrat saying, it's okay that our fairs and festivals are hit, and our teachers and our miners and our vets and our seniors and our poor and tourism and historical tax credit, women's commission, all this stuff. Are you kidding me? Are you blooming kidding me? Why did we do this? Why in the world have we done this? Now, if I had time, I would veto this in an absolute millisecond. There is no way that this should not be vetoed. But there is no time. There's no time. And it's a terrible shame. And it's going to hurt a lot of people. And for that, and I want you to hear me and hear me really clearly. I'm 66. I've run a lot of businesses. I started out with nothing. Nothing. My beautiful daughter Jill's here today, and she's pregnant, and we're going to have our first grandchild. And I don't know how it gets any better than that. But I want to tell you this. I started with nothing and built an empire. And I can tell you that from the bottom of my heart, I apologize for the action of others, because some way, somehow, they never could get it. And it's going to hurt. And it's going to hurt a lot of people. So, I'll gladly answer your questions. I'm going to give you a list of the people that voted for this and against this. I'm going to give you, because I truly believe exactly what I've said before, accountability. Accountability. We didn't broaden the base. We didn't raise the consumer sales tax. We cut, basically, with the cuts that I had in place, in addition to that, we cut an additional. I had $56 million in cuts, and we cut an additional $130 million. We are backfilling Medicaid to say, well, we're not really hurting Medicaid. We're backfilling it with hocus pocus money. One-time money, for sure. Now, get this. My out years balanced. My out years balanced. And I delivered you something that didn't have all this carnage. Their out years per our people are 2019, right back $179 million in the hole. 2020, $245 million in the hole. 21, $318 million in the hole. 22, $486 million in the hole. I really hate this. I really do. Because I've stood steadfast on one thing, and that is I didn't want us to hurt people more. People have been hurt enough. It breaks my heart of all the cuts and the pain that is unnecessary beyond belief. I'm going to keep working as hard as I can, night and day, every day of my life, to try to some way rectify this mess. I would tell you as voters, you've got to pay attention. You have to pay attention. These people, too many people are here to be reelected. That's what they want to do, get reelected. And they may be your buddies in your districts, but if they're voting the wrong way and they're causing pain, then you need to do something about it. because that's what this system's all about. In this wonderful country, this is what the system is all about. You've got to pay attention. You've got to sit back and say, really and truly, if we had an opportunity here that we could have kept our fairs and festivals up and going, and we could have helped our teachers and our miners and our vets and our seniors and really helped the poor, really given them a check back. And we could have absolutely promoted this unbelievably great state. Why is it that every time we got to turn the TV on and watch Michigan? I mean, for crying out loud, why can't we see us? But the last line I'd tell you is just this. When it's all okay, and it will be okay, when it's all okay, you know what you have to thank? You have to thank one thing and one thing only. Maybe two. It may be that we actually continue on a pathway of having decent severance tax dollars. But we know what it was like when we didn't. But you really only have one thing to really thank, if it's okay, and it will be okay, and that's the roads. If we hadn't passed the roads and all the jobs and all the opportunities, we would have been dead beyond dead. So as we go forward, we're going to be okay because of the roads. Because of the roads. But as we go forward, I want you to look back over your shoulder with maybe a tear in your eye, because some of these people won't make it. Some of them won't make it. Think about this just 1 second, and then I'm done. How many people are we going to lose on drugs? How many people are going to die? How many families are we going to hurt? How many how many seniors are we going to lose when we could have given them the opportunity? How many really, really poor people that are out there are we really, really, really hurting? How many are we going to lose? So even though we're going to be okay, by the grace of God, first and foremost, and by the fact that somebody came along and said, let's do a roads plan, and let's do it bigger than ever before. We're going to be okay, but you should carry, and I should carry, that tackle box and that axe, because that tackle box and that axe represents all these that we hurt, and we didn't have to. We didn't have to do it. So I'm done, and I'll be glad to answer any question you've got, but I'm done.
Governor, are you going to actively campaign against all these Democrats and Republicans that voted against your budget?
I may. I would tell you that they didn't vote against my budget. They voted against the people of this state. They didn't hurt me. I'm going to go home and things are going to be fine in my world. They hurt the people. That's all there is to it.
Who do you blame specifically? I mean, when you get right down to it, whose fault was this? If you can name names specifically.
Well, the House leadership is surely questionable on both sides. Because we just bounced around all over Kingdom Come, and you've got a group of people that are in the House that are saying, you know, by God, we're not going to do anything. Nothing. Well, just think about it. You're faced with a $500 million hole in the bucket. And I warn people over and over and over, I'm new to the party here, guys. I didn't cause this mess. You know, I tried to fix a mess. But when you've got a $500 million hole in the bucket, you can't just dig your heels in, sign something and say, I'm not going to raise any tax. What if Jim Justice had not come along with the roads plan? And you said, I'm not going to do that. This board would have reflected hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars of additional cuts. You realize the only income that they're working with is some hocus pocus money and $129 million of my revenue. Now, you got problems on both sides. I'm really, really disappointed with the Democrats because they were family. They were family, and we had it done, and they dove in the ditch. I expected the Republicans to align and not want to do this, but when the family dove in the ditch, it really hurt. It really, really hurt. But there's plenty of blame to share all around. That's for daggum sure. Yes, sir.
Believe it or not, we're only 6 months away from the next legislative session.
Damn way.
How do you work with how do you work with folks that you're disappointed in right now to assure a different outcome? How does that begin?
Brad, just hear me out on this. You know, I'm not here to win a popularity contest, and I've worked all my life. Anybody in the world would know that I am a guy that pulls the rope with everybody. I'm the easiest guy in the world to get along with. Easiest guy on the planet. And I don't want anything for me, nothing whatsoever. I don't have any pet peeves or pet projects and everything. I wanted to help the teachers because of this. We've got 718 classrooms in this state that don't have a teacher in it. For crying out loud, how bad are we? Are we really willing to say to our kids, we got 718 classrooms, we're not going to have a teacher. That's okay. Well, it's not okay. It's not okay. But Brad, I don't know the answer. I just don't know the answer because you've got people here that are willing, absolutely. Now, they all say we're here for West Virginians, but you've got a ton of people here that right this moment, right now, they know we've got a budget passed and they don't care. Tomorrow's another day. They don't care. Well, I care. I really care. So I don't know how to answer that.
Governor, there's some semblance or sentiment within the coal industry that maybe you should call a special session to deal with the coal severance tax issue. It's just a standalone bill. Is that possible?
Well, I'm not going to rule out anything. I could call 100, special sessions, but I am an absolute believer we should have tiered the severance tax on coal. No question whatsoever. It was an absolute given that we should have done that. But you've got a bunch of other things here that are hugely important that we're just stabbing right in the heart.
Governor, are you worried about causing any logistical problems by leaving the budget in the lurch until Saturday?
I'm sorry?
Are you worried about causing any
No,
problems?
we've covered that. It'll be fine. Everybody will be fine. Everybody will be fine. I just can't, there's certain things that I'm not going to do in this world, and I'm not going to put my name on this mess. There's no way.
By not signing this bill, you're forfeiting your line item veto power, which you could make some corrections to the budget. Had you considered that?
The only problem with that, Phil, is this. If you line item veto stuff, you're going to end up with a further situation to where you've got to backfill money. And you could very well end up having to go into other areas and cut even more. I'm very reluctant about that.
Governor Justice, some will say that by you not being able to bring both parties together on the House and Senate side, that's a failure on your part of leadership. What would you say to that?
I'd say you're right. You're exactly right. There's no way I can feel good about it, but I can't be more blunt than to tell you this, that I don't know if Jesus himself could bring this bunch together. Because I have never seen anything like it. Anybody else got any other questions? Okay, God bless everybody. Thank you.